First up, it only gets better from here, I promise. In 1969, a group of LGBT bar patrons in New York City stood up to a corrupt police force because they had had enough. They stood up and said, "We have had enough." And that was the same year that I was born, in 1969. I'm that old. And I feel like I owe it to them and everybody that came before them and everybody that comes after us to stand up and use my voice to make change in this world. As Troy said, I have been at this activist thing since I was 17 back in the 80s. 1987, yes, I'm dating myself. And I have made many friends along the way, and I've even made a few enemies. And now I can say that I've even been arrested and gone to jail. So that day at the Capitol we got arrested was not the day that I had planned. In fact, the whole idea of getting arrested seemed rather inconvenient to me. Stephen, my boyfriend, and I had decided to come down here and support all of our friends and maybe go home and see a movie that afternoon. Well, that's not how it went. So we got here and there was no way we were going home once we did. I saw my friends behind me standing there in front of the governor's office, and I kind of got sucked into it, and at that point I was hooked. When things started to escalate, we ended up in the committee room, and there was a moment, before we got arrested, there was a moment. There's always a choice, and we had a choice whether we were going to go quietly or we were going to go to jail. And we went to jail. But as I was standing there locked arm in arm with my compatriots back here, I felt such strength and support. And there was no way I was going home, and there was no way that my voice was not going to be heard that day. For so many years, we've had public officials tell us, "I support you privately, but I cannot do so publicly." And that day we got the same patronizing pat on the back. "You're going about this the wrong way. You're doing this the wrong way. I support you, but I don't support this." And at that point, it's so angry. These are not their rights to give us, they being the people in power. They are our rights to claim for ourselves. We are not... We are not asking for permission. We are telling you that you must recognize us. So when I was faced with that choice and I was standing there with my boyfriend and my other friends, I looked at Donna and Gail and Angela and some of the other people, and I thought to myself, there's no way I'm letting these people take a bullet for me. If they're going down, I'm going down with them. So let me tell you about being arrested. It's not that bad. In fact, it was scary as hell, I'm not gonna lie. It was scary. But when we got to the jail and, you know, we were handcuffed to a bar and there's crazy people everywhere, but there was TVs in the jail. And we were on the TV and all the people in the jail, all the other prisoners and the inmates were like, "Hey, you guys are famous." And you know what? They were on our side. They wanted to be there with us. I can't tell you how many people since have said, "I wish I could have been there with you. Wish I would have been in that jail with you." Where all those prisoners and inmates and even the sheriff's deputies, all of them quietly told us that they supported us. So I know that the people out there, the people support this. 72% of Utah supports this. Now how do we make change? The only way change is made in democracy is by using your voice. Every voice counts. Everybody counts. This is our house. This is our community. This is we, the people. We are the government. It is not a them. They do not get to tell us how to live our lives and how to be. And we must reclaim that for ourselves. Using your voice can be as simple as talking to your neighbor. I told my mom 20 years ago that if it ever came up in church, this was during the whole Boy Scout thing back in the 90s. I said, if it ever comes in church, you just say to your friends that my son is gay. And that's all I ask of you. Just speak out and say, I do not agree with you. Using your voice can be as simple as talking to your neighbor, getting involved in your community, voting, donating money. There's a million ways to raise your voice. You don't have to get arrested. You don't have to go to jail. I promise. America is not some abstract thing. We are America. We are Utah. We are loud and we are relentless, and we will not go home until this bill passes. Thank you.
I was going to say give it up for Matthew Landis, but go ahead and give it up again for Matthew Landis. Thank you. Now, I don't know if any